Hey everyone, my name is Sarah and this is my Service Talk Bailey right here. And today I just want to chat a bit about what it means to be disabled to me and why it matters to me, because realizing that I was disabled and coming out as disabled, so to say, has been like a really transformative experience for me, and it's really changed how I perceive myself, my ability to do things, my perception of the world around me. It's really been life-changing. And for me, it's been a positive experience to realize that and to come to terms with it. And I think it can be for a lot of people, which is why I kind of want to share why it matters to me. Growing up, I always struggled. Hindsight is 2020. So at the time, I thought I was just going to push harder and harder. I'm a first-generation American, and my parents both have very hard work ethics and always taught us, you got to work with what opportunities you've been provided. Like, we worked really hard to get you here. You're going to work really hard. I was fortunate enough that going to college was never a question. It was always, you're going to work hard, you're going to get into a good one, you're going to hope you get some scholarships, and you're just going to work hard. When things get tough, you push yourself more. And I lived by that. In elementary school and middle school and high school, I poured myself into school and extracurriculars, and I was a very high-achieving student, but I had a very hard time recognizing when I needed to pull back. I would just keep pouring myself into things until I would start to spiral and a crisis would inevitably happen. And all that time, I thought, you can keep doing this, you can just keep pushing. When it got really hard, I would just tell myself, no, you're not trying hard enough. Everyone's gonna see you're a sham. You gotta just put on the face, keep going, it'll get better. And so I kept doing that, and I kept spiraling. I would spiral, crisis, and then I would spiral, crisis again, and it was exhausting, but I wasn't recognizing the cycle that I was in, and so I just kept going. And so I think it took until just about senior year of high school where I hit that crisis point, and it was very severe. And I'm not going to give details just for privacy and also for the sake of people watching this video, but it was, traumatic. And so I finally got to the point where I was like, okay, this keeps happening. I need to reach out for help, because until this point, I was just handling everything on my own, figuring it out. When I got to that crisis point, I would just figure something out, stay home from school for a couple days, tell my mom I was sick, things like that, and, hide it and move on. And senior year of high school, I, told a couple friends, and I told my mom, and I was like, I'm struggling. This is too much, and I don't know what to do. This has happened before. I just was lost. I didn't know what to do anymore. Academically, that was when, things started to become more difficult, because up until then, I had this trajectory. Keep working. And at that point, it was one of the biggest crashes. It was, all right, I can't do this anymore. That's the first time that I ended up, having any conversations with professors, or it was teachers at the time being like, hey, can I have an extension on an assignment? That was unfathomable to me before. Or, hey, I don't know, I would tell them the quality on this work isn't as good as I normally would have. I apologize, things like that, because I was recognizing that it was affecting the work that I was doing, and I was ashamed of that. I felt like if I didn't put on this mask of, perfect, happy, healthy working hard, succeeding, then I wasn't worth what I had been before. And that I kind of had like imposter syndrome. I felt like I had to keep up this act. Otherwise, everyone would know I was just a sham, which obviously isn't the case. But, and that's when I started to like recognize, okay, like working harder doesn't help certain things. Working harder and pushing yourself beyond your capabilities doesn't help your health, and it's going to, put you in a worse spot than you started, and it's not going to be helpful. And so I did that, and then freshman year of college was one of the worst years health-wise that I've ever had. And I, missed 2 exams and a crap ton of classes. And I was, not doing well. And it took a very big wake-up call for me to be like, you know what, like, I can't handle this anymore. And seeking help and realizing that, like, okay, this has been going on for my entire life. It's not something that's going to go away, by watching, like, some YouTube videos on how to be more successful and work harder and get straight A's. It's not going to go away by reading some blog posts or having just a super successful study plan. Those things, while they, add structure to your life and they can help you get ideas about strategies you can use, they're not going to solve the issues that I was facing, the health things. And at that point, it started to become part of my identity, not just this thing that was happening to me that I had no control over. This has been a part of me for as long as I can remember, and why not treat it like that? And so I started to learn my own body and my own mind and learn what it meant for me to have these health issues, working with professionals, finding strategies. So it took, a lot, like that whole year, recognizing that, like, this isn't something that happened to me. This is something that has been a part of me for as long as I can remember, and I need to treat it like that. I need to just learn more about it and adapt to it. And instead of, pushing myself beyond what I can do, I need to just learn what I can do and learn where those limits are and learn when to try less. That was a huge part of it for me. Instead of pushing through the pain and pushing through, the health issues that I was facing and not telling anyone, I needed to address it. I needed to, work with professionals, find strategies, find where those lines were. And, if an assignment was going to make me hit that line, I needed to notify the professor and get extra time. Or I needed to work with my disability services, or I needed to call my doctor and figure out if there was something we could do. It became more of a, this is something that is happening to me, to this is something that's part of me, to this is, just who I am. And that was probably the healthiest recognition, the healthiest coming to terms that I could have found. And it has helped me be able to get, like, an amazing improvement in my health and in how I manage it. Instead of feeling ashamed or guilty or, like, awful for being unable to reach the things that I previously was able to just push through to. I'm kinder to myself. I understand my limits and can communicate those limits to other people. I have been able to get better tools to help me manage my health, like a service dog. I've been able to work with a wider variety of professionals that otherwise I would have just, said, oh, I don't need your help. Like, this isn't something that I need. I'm fine. It's allowed me to be truly honest with myself and recognize, who I am, and having a disability is part of who I am, and it doesn't make me any less of a person. In fact, I think having those struggles and having to work around them has made me a stronger person. And I'm very proud to be disabled in a way. Not that I am lucky to have to struggle every single day, but I'm proud that this is something that I've gotten through, that I'm going to get through every single day, and it's just another thing that makes me unique. And it's a very interesting thing to come to terms with, because at the same time, it makes my life more difficult. It makes things painful and hard, and some days it really freaking sucks. But on the other hand, I've been able to see the world so much more differently than I ever would have, and I've been able to communicate that to others in ways that have allowed them to learn and for them to help spread the knowledge and kindness to people. Because a lot of people don't recognize disability as an identity, or as or recognize the need for diversity in ability status the same way we recognize someone's ethnic or racial background as diversity, or someone's gender identity or sexual orientation as diversity. Ability status is an identity, and it's one that, there's diversity just as wide as any other identity. And it's important to recognize that, because my experience with a disability is not your experience with disability. And so we need to learn from each other, and that starts with learning from yourself and learning what it means for you to be disabled or abled and how that's impacted you. If you're able-bodied, able-minded, whatever you are, whatever you have, then that's something to recognize too, and consider, like, this is how this affects my life. I'm able to do these things, and I am unable to do these things. There's certain skills or activities that people with disabilities do that people with abilities don't do. Certain abilities don't do. And they're skills in and of themselves. And they add to who we are, and it's something to think about. Anyways, I'm just rambling at this point, but I did want to make that video about why it's so important to me. It's allowed me to be me and not feel guilty and ashamed and like I have to hide how hard it is for me, some days. And it's really been transformative to be able to recognize, wow, like, I'm disabled. And that doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. That just means I have to approach the world differently. And sometimes I need extra tools like this one to help me get through the day. So that's my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have opinions, or you want to tell your story of when you realized, when it clicked for you, I'm disabled and I can't, brush this off, or this is a part of who I am, and you really embrace that, I would love to hear. If you could put that in the comments down below, I would love to hear about your experiences. And thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks. Bye.